I've spent 15 years collecting antiques. I know the difference between old wood and old energy, between history and something else entirely, something darker. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about 3 objects that should have stayed buried in the past. 3 cursed antiques that didn't just come home with me, they followed me. Let me start with the mirror. It was October 2019. I was browsing an estate sale in rural Vermont, the kind where the family just wants everything gone. The house had belonged to a woman named Margaret Whitmore, dead at 93, no living relatives. Her belongings were spread across folding tables in a garage that smelled of mothballs and decay. The mirror was leaning against the back wall, almost hidden behind boxes of costume jewelry. Victorian-era, beveled glass, mahogany frame with hand-carved roses. Beautiful. The price tag said $20. I should have wondered why something so valuable was priced so low. The estate sale volunteer, an elderly man with yellowed eyes, watched me examine it. "You sure you want that one?" he asked. His voice had a strange quality, like he was trying to warn me, and discourage me at the same time. I laughed it off, told him I'd take it. As I loaded it into my car, I caught my reflection in the glass. But the reflection was wrong somehow. The angle didn't match. I was standing to the left of the mirror, but my reflection appeared dead center, staring straight ahead. I blinked, and it corrected itself. Trick of the light, I told myself. That night, I hung it in my hallway. That's when things started. I'd wake at 3 a.m. to the sound of footsteps in the hall. Every time I checked, there was nothing. But the mirror, God, the mirror was always slightly crooked, no matter how many times I straightened it. And my reflection began to move just a fraction of a second too slow, like it was studying me, before mimicking my movements. A week later, I saw her, Margaret Whitmore, in the mirror, standing behind my reflection, her face gray and sunken, mouth moving silently. I spun around. Nothing there. When I looked back at the mirror, she was closer. Her hand was reaching toward my reflection's shoulder. I sold it the next day to a collector in Boston. Took a loss. Didn't care. But here's what still haunts me. He called me 3 weeks later. Said the mirror had shattered on its own. And when he swept up the pieces, he found something sandwiched between the glass and the backing. Locks of human hair. Dozens of them, all tied with ribbon, all different colors. He counted 23. Margaret had been a hairdresser. But why she kept the hair, and what she did with that mirror, I'll never know. The second object was a music box. I found it at a flea market in New Orleans, summer of 2021. Porcelain hand-painted with a pastoral scene, a mechanical ballerina inside. The vendor, a young woman with nervous hands, practically pushed it into my arms. "Please," she said, "just take it. I can't have it anymore." She wouldn't explain. She wouldn't take money. She just kept saying, "It needs to leave. It needs to go with someone who understands." I should have listened to the panic in her voice. The music box played a lullaby I didn't recognize. Haunting, dissonant, like the notes were slightly off-key. I placed it on my dresser, and that first night, it opened on its own. 3:15 in the morning. The ballerina spun in the darkness, and that broken lullaby filled my bedroom. I got up to close it, and that's when I noticed the inscription inside the lid, hidden under the velvet lining that had peeled back. French words, barely legible. "Pour ma fille qui dort portauges." For my daughter, who sleeps forever. The next night I locked it. It opened anyway. And this time I heard something else beneath the music, a child's voice humming along. When I touched the ballerina to stop it, the porcelain was warm, body temperature. I researched the markings on the base. It was made in 1890 in Paris. I found a news article from that year about a craftsman named Henry Dubois who drowned his 7-year-old daughter and then himself. He'd been a toymaker specializing in music boxes. I buried that box in my backyard, 6 feet down, wrapped in salt and iron chains like some folk ritual. Probably useless, probably insane. But I haven't heard that lullaby since. The third object nearly killed me. A rocking chair, Pennsylvania Dutch, circa 1840. I bought it from an auction house in Philadelphia last spring. Solid construction, beautiful scrollwork. The appraiser told me it came from a farmhouse where a woman named Constance Brenner had died. She'd rocked herself to death, they said. Sat in that chair for 3 days straight until her heart gave out. I thought it was a metaphor, a colorful story to increase value. I placed it in my reading corner, and every evening when I came home it was rocking, slowly, deliberately. As if someone had just stood up, I'd stop it. It would start again. One night, exhausted, I sat in it, just to prove to myself it was nothing. The moment I settled into the seat, I couldn't stand up. My body wouldn't respond. My legs were frozen, my arms locked to the armrests, and the chair began to rock, faster, faster. My heart was hammering. I could feel pressure on my chest, crushing, suffocating. In my peripheral vision, I saw hands, withered, ancient hands gripping the chair arms next to mine. I heard her whisper in my ear, "Stay, rock with me, forever." I don't know how I broke free. I remember screaming. I remember throwing myself forward with every ounce of strength. I hit the floor, gasping, and the chair kept rocking. Empty, relentless. I burned it that night in my fireplace, watched it crack and hiss and pop. And I swear to you, as the flames consumed it, I heard screaming. So here's what I know now. Some objects don't just carry history, they carry hunger. They carry souls that refuse to let go. And sometimes, when you bring them home, you're not the collector, you're the collected. That rocking chair's ashes are still in my fireplace. I can't bring myself to clean them out, because sometimes, late at night, I hear it, that gentle creaking, back and forth, waiting for me to sit down again.